And we're back. I had an epiphany in the couple seconds it took me to stop the last lesson and start the new one. And that was that this colorized thing where I had a checkbox here, I think we actually want like a menu, like one of these guys. And the reason I'm saying that is because I think instead of saying like colorized or not, we actually want a couple choices. We want blank versus I hate it makes you do this. I always have these things being the same anyways. Blank versus random colors, which will make a little thing to randomly colorize each little bit, versus textured, which will be our normal mode of operandus, and then textured with random colors on top of the texture. I don't really know how to say that, so I'm going to call it rand col textured. Rand col textured, because as I was messing around with this on different things, it just seems more useful. The default will be 0, 1, 2, will be 2 textured, right? 0, 1, 2. Okay, and exploded, by the way, by default, I think should be off too. So that's going to be our little guys. So that'll be kind of our default method when we do it. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to go inside here, and after we've broken everything up, at the very end of it all, we're going to set a couple things up that we kind of have to do for simulation anyways. We've got these guys, right? We have a couple things we normally do, like I want to give these guys point normals. I know they probably have them, but just to make sure, now that everything's all together, I'm going to give them point normals. I want to do this might be my OCD showing up, but I kind of want to do a clean just to make sure everything's peachy keen, you know? And I don't want to actually necessarily delete anything special, but if anything weird happened in there, like, you know, now that we've merged some stuff together, whatever you're showing, let's go ahead and just do it clean with nothing else on it. The other thing we need is rest position, which is just basic normal rest position because we're going to go into the simulation. Although you might notice that when you do this and you make it from scratch like an RBD object, it tends to do that. I don't know if we need that or not. I don't really care. Okay, so once we have it, we got this, right? Yay, nothing interesting happening. So the first thing I want to do is I want to, although it probably already has, you know, all sorts of cool stuff and already has name and stuff, I want to make do I have one? No, we don't. Good. I want to make an attribute that's connectivity. Remember, these are, well, here, let's just do it. I want to make an attribute for connectivity. Everybody gets his own little thing called class, right? And this is your basic connectivity that does class. So I'm going to do it to say by primitive, although there. So let's say primitive class. You guys don't have to be nuts with the names and stuff if you don't want to. But the benefit is then it kind of always works. So when we do have an explode, and this one I will leave, this will be part of our structure for things. Our exploded view won't use this. It'll actually go by the attribute class. And the reason we're going to do that, unless I've done something horribly wrong, is, wait for it, bum, ba-dum, bum, bum, bum. That way both the stone and each individual bits have that. By the way, see we get some cool like mix up of stuff there and just laser right in the cross. That's why I was so adamant about not 2Difying the points before. We'll care about it more for the stone than we will for the brick when you see the final stuff. By the way, I guess we don't need to see that guy anymore. So that's why I want this kind of connectivity class thing. Okay, but before that, I want a random color for each guy. So let's just go ahead and make that. I know it's something they probably have a SOP for somewhere that I'm just don't know of, but let's just make it because I feel like it's fun enough we can do it, and hey, maybe it'll be useful. So let's make a little point bop. Blunk. Dink. And inside of here, what do I want to do? All I want to do is I want to take that attribute we made, which was called what? It's called class. How do we get an attribute? Import attribute, something like that. So it's going to be a primitive attribute because we made it that way. me put it up here. It was called class. I did make an integer, didn't I? I don't know. If I didn't, tell me later on and I'll change it. So it's an attribute called class. And what I want to do is I want to make a random color out of that and put it into here. So how do we do that? Well, we happen to have a random guy, right? And normally you go, he gets 1D float in, blah, 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 blah. If you mess around with this enough, you notice that if you can give him an integer and he's clever enough to give an output of a random float, which is cool. And so I want a different color, and by color, what do I mean? Well, usually when I say color, we mean brightness and saturation full max. We just mean the hue is different, right? So that sounds useful. Let's actually make a vector that has, what's that thing? Float the vector? Yeah. If this was the hue, this random hue, I'll even call him hue, random hue, and the other guys were like just one, like say there was hue and saturation and brightness, one. This would be, you know, a nice HSV. We can't actually plug that in directly to the color because we have to convert the hue, saturation, brightness into RGB values, which is going to be really amazingly difficult. Just kidding, they've already got something for that. It's called HSV to RGB. If you like acronyms, so you can go kerblammy. Okay, and I'm going to call that, I'm going to make this a color because I like things that are colors. And this is going to be the random colors. Colors. Let's see how well it works. You ready? We're going to press the button. Ooh, pretty colors. Now, the thing I want you to notice, the colors, and it still maintains the texture note. So this would actually be our colored textured guy. If we wanted our guy that doesn't have that, we would have to blank out the material. In other words, this guy still has this shop material path. We would have to get rid of that. So we would have to do like we're not going to do it. We would have to actually grab this guy without screwing anything else up and just remove the attribute, what it's called, shop, I don't know, it's called shop something. So that would be our blank guy. Like here, it would be blank with nothing. Here, it would be blank with the colors. And then here, it would be colored and textured, blah, blah, blah. So let's take a look at what that looks like exploded. Badonk. Kapowza. Big long pause again. There it is. Cool. Pretty. It's like Christmas. Okay, so how do we put all this together in such a way that we want to see things the way they are? Well, we have a switch for whether or not we show it exploded, right? Yeah, and normally we don't, sometimes we do. That switch specifically is this guy. Anyways, all we were doing was we were saying that we're going to have our blank, random colored, and random textured guy here. Our show exploded is what we're going to have a little switch for, and that's what this guy is going to be. Random colors, we're going to bring that out in a second. First, I'm just going to say we're going to have a switch. Normally we don't, sometimes we do, on the show exploded. Okay, so this is going to be exploded or not. And that is basically going to be our textured guy. Textured. I'm just putting a null down so we know what it is. For the blank version, and I still want to come from the exploded one, from the blank version, we remove the attribute shop, material, whatever it is. That's going to be our blank version. Our blank version, and actually let's put down a switch for it going with this. This is going to be our final thing to show. Blank or color or textured or color textured. I'm going to make this black, so it's going to basically be the final thing we show. I'm basically saying normally we want blank, sometimes we want blank but with colors, which is going to be that guy. Sometimes we want textured, and then finally sometime we want textured colors, which is going to be, I'm just going to make a copy of this guy. put him down here, dunk. And that's going to be this guy. Okay, so if we turn that on, go back to auto update, wait for it to be calm. We have whether we're exploded or not, and all that stuff set up. So let's take a look. Blank. Random card, let's go back up to the wall. And we didn't connect it right, did we? Here's our guys that are connected. Here's whether or not they're exploded. Let's just make sure that works real quick. Explode, unexplode, great. Then blank should be here, great. Random colors should be there, yeah, that's fine. Textured is there. Textured with random cards is there. And that should be everybody, right? Blank, random colors, texture, and then random color texture, and call that. Okay, great. So all we need to do is give this guy that menu. So I'm going to go up here, copy that parameter. That's what I didn't do before. Copy it. I'm going to paste a relative reference to it so that now when we go up here, whether we're seeing, even when we're seeing all these guys, we can see them as blank, exploded, big long pauses, it does the explosion, or non-exploded. Random colors, explosion or non-explosion. Textured, explosion or non-explosion. And finally, random color, texture, explosion or non-explosion. Awesome. And by default, we're going to go with this. That's basically it. Come back for the next lesson. We'll do some final stuff and make things roll around. Or blow up, whatever we're calling this thing. Okay, see you in the next lesson.